tonight on Y News. Search continues for survivors in a massive landslide in Itogon, Benguet. Environment Secretary Roy Cimatu orders a stoppage of all small-scale mining operations in the Cordillera Administrative Region. And clearing operations underway after Typhoon MANGKHUT wreaks havoc in Hong Kong. Good evening. The Philippine National Police temporarily suspends the search and rescue operation for over 40 people that remains missing after a massive landslide hit an Itogon village during Typhoon Ompong's onslaught. Nel Mariboc tells us why live from Baguio. Yes, Nel, good evening.
Rheena, authorities are not losing hope that they will still find survivors underneath the loose ground that covered a portion of Barangay Ukab, Itogon, Benguet. Today, personnel from the Philippine National Police, BJMP, Bureau of Fire Protection, and other groups have combined their efforts and forces to search the area. Rescuers manually dug the ground and used machines to pump out waters that saturated the land after days of non-stop rains.
Medyo may challenge kasi basically makikita naman natin ngayon mano-mano lahat ng operations natin.
Continuous pa rin ang search and rescue ng ating mga different line agencies sa mga 40 and above number of individuals na missing pa ngayon. Bunkhouse po yan at saka isang structure na ginawang church. Dalawa po yan, yung nakikita nyo po ngayon, hindi po yan yung exact place niya, sa taas pa po yun.
In today's operation, rescuers have recovered 3 bodies in the area where a landslide occurred. One of the victims was positively identified by Thio as his son-in-law, but his daughter and 4 grandchildren remain missing. Thio arrived here yesterday from Nueva Vizcaya after hearing about the incident.
Lahat silang pamilya, walang isang naiwan. Lahat sila. 2 anak, wala akong magawa. Kung talagang kahit mahirap sa puso ko, wala akong magawa. Diyos ang bahala.
Data from the Cordillera Region Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council showed that as of today, 54 people were confirmed dead in various landslide incidents in the region. 49 are still missing. The Philippine National Police have temporarily halted the search and rescue operation for the night because of the risk confronting the rescuers. Authorities assured they will resume the operation tomorrow. Rheena.
Thank you so much, Nel Mariboc, reporting live from Baguio City. An official in Itogon, Benguet clarifies reports about mining operations in an area that was hit by a massive landslide during the course of Typhoon Ompong. He also states that they are yet to move the retrieval phase of the ongoing search operation. Joan Nano tells us why.
Municipal Councilor Arnel Bahingawan clarifies reports about mining operation in Barangay Ukab in the municipality of Itogon, where a bank house was swallowed by a massive landslide during the onslaught of Typhoon Ompong. In an interview with UNTV News, Bahingawan says the bank house was actually abandoned and families of miners around the area turned it into an evacuation center in the course of the typhoon. The local official clarifies that the operation of Benguet Corporation in the area had long ended since 1990s.
Nag-end na po ang operation nila 1990s eh. And then during the time of Secretary Gina Lopez, may directive na sila na talagang you go on with the final mine rehab and decommissioning. Eh naalis po si Ma'am Gina, parang naka-standby yung status nila.
Bahingawan also explains that the fate of the miners remained uncertain because their application for small-scale mining operation is still pending.
Yung mga kababayan naman natin na gustong magmina dito sa outside ng property ng kumpanya, tinatry naman po nilang mag-form ng association for them to comply to the provisions of the small-scale mining law. Nakabinbin po yung mga application nila.
The Mines and Geosciences Bureau in Cordillera previously warned against mining in Itogon, Benguet because the municipality's soil has become saturated due to a long period of monsoon rain, especially in August prior to the onset of Typhoon Ompong. The agency has issued a standing stoppage order to all small-scale mining in the municipality. As of 12 noon Monday, a body of a male victim under concrete was recovered. However, Bahingawan clarifies they're still in the rescue phase of the operation, not retrieval, as they hope to find survivors under the rubble. Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
The Department of Environment and Natural Resources suspends small-scale mining operations in the Cordillera Administrative Region after a massive landslide hit Itogon, Benguet during the onslaught of Typhoon Ompong. Rosalie Cos tells us why.
More than 30 people were killed and scores remain missing in a landslide that buried bunkhouses of miners in Itogon, Benguet during the onset of Typhoon Ompong. This prompted the Department of Environment and Natural Resources to suspend small-scale mining operations in the entire Cordillera Administrative Region, including those permitted by local government as part of the Minahang Bayan Initiative. The DENR also employs the assistance of the military and police in implementing the stoppage of the mining operations.
We ask our small-scale miners to cooperate and stop all small-scale mining activities here. The DENR will be sending men from the Armed Forces of the Philippines and the Philippine National Police to effect the stoppage of all mining activities, especially here in Itogon.
On Sunday, President Rodrigo Duterte reiterated his plan to stop open-pit mining operations in the country under his administration.
So the underlying peripheral communities are always in danger. And anywhere you say basta yung open-pit mining, wala ng kahoy. Mining has stopped. And if I cannot stop it during my time as president, nobody can. Because it's big business and the pressure is just too great.
Meanwhile, the government assures assistance to hundreds of miners who will be affected by the stoppage of the operations. The government also urges miners to go back to their provinces or face relocation.
Ang immediate po dyan, meron tayong cash for work, galing po sa DOLE, galing sa DSWD. Pagkatapos po dyan, i-activate po ang TESDA for alternative livelihood. Pagkatapos po dyan, yung recommendation na bumalik nga sa Ifugao.
Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacanang.
The cost of damage brought by Typhoon Ompong in Cagayan has reached 4 billion pesos, which placed the whole province under a state of calamity. Monokson will tell us why.
Rose Macalintal was close to tears upon seeing how their house was destroyed by Typhoon Ompong. Rose and her family lives in Bagao in Cagayan, where the eye of typhoon first landed. She said she will never forget the night when the typhoon wreaked havoc in their town. She added that they were not able to sleep since the strong wind and rain started, fearing that something bad might happen to them.
Hihinto na sana para naman hindi maano tong mga bata. Puro na lang mga bata ang namin ng mag-asawa. Tapos mga tanim namin, bahay, o mga apo. Yun na lang, maligtas kami. Bahala na kahit mabasa na lahat. Basta na lang maligtas kaming pamilya.
Even her husband admitted not knowing what to do next because of the scale of the damage that the typhoon had left them.
Umutang na naman ulit, sir. Walang magagawa, sir, kung ganito na talaga ang nangyari.
The Macalintal household is just one of the thousands of families in Cagayan that were affected by the typhoon. The provincial government estimated that the cost of damage already reached more than 4 billion pesos. The damage in agriculture is 4.6 billion pesos, while the initial estimate on the cost of damage in infrastructure has reached 46 million pesos. The most damaged crops were corn and rice. Houses built with light materials on the other hand, were destroyed by the typhoon.
Sa agriculture, dapang-dapa talaga ang aming province dahil halos 4.6 billion worth of palay, corn, and vegetable farms ang napinsala. Mga 134,000 hectares batay sa report ng aming provincial agriculturist.
Because of this, a state of calamity was declared to fast-track the release of funds for the relief operations and rehabilitation. The number of families also reached 11,000, or equivalent to 46,000 individuals. Meanwhile, life goes on as far as the whole province is concerned. In Tuguegarao City, long lines can be seen in gasoline stations and only missionary flights are allowed in the airport. There is no power supply in the city, but water is available in all residential houses. Many establishments are already open for business, and even shopping malls are crowded. The government is on watch for those taking advantage on increasing their prices while a price freeze is in effect due to the declaration of the state of calamity. Power supply will be available after more than a month in areas that were struck the hardest, and less than a week for slightly affected areas. Meanwhile, the province of Cagayan has already recorded 4 fatalities. The provincial government said 2 fatalities were reported from the town of Igig and 2 from the town of Baggao. Officials are still confirming the report that 1 person died in the town of Peña Blanca and another in the town of Gonzaga. Mon Hocson, UNTV News and Rescue, Cagayan.
Local authorities still advise residents in Pangasinan to be vigilant and stay off the roads after Typhoon Ompong hammered the province. Mai Bermudez tells us why.
Ferocious Typhoon Ompong has already left the Philippine area of responsibility, but some areas still continue to face threat from floods. In Pangasinan, local authorities still advise residents to take shelter as flash flooding remains imminent with the ongoing water spilling operations in San Roque Dam. Dam operators say water level remains higher than normal following the onslaught of Typhoon Ompong. Its water level reached a critical level of 280 meters after rainwaters from Cordillera Mountains flowed down to San Roque Dam.
Naranasan natin yung pinakamataas na ipinasok na tubig sa San Roque Dam kasi noon na lang bumaba yung tubig galing din sa Aklan, Benguet. So umabot siya ng 6,130, ganun siya kalaki.
The continued release has elevated water levels in rivers in the town of Santa Barbara, Calasiao, and Dagupan, consequently flooding major roads. Urdaneta to Dagupan City Highway is currently inundated by knee-deep flood water. Residents are also trying to recover from the effects of Ompong, which left a trail of destruction in its wake.
Wala kaming kabuhay ang pagkakakitaan kasi nga ganito. Nasira nung mga ano. Yung ginawa namin, kapunta sa bahay, nilagyan ng lubid yung mga bahay, kasigurado ng bahay. Eh siyempre, ang di mo lubid yan, delikado talaga, malakas ang hangin. Sobrang lakas.
It might take up to the end of this month before the water level in San Roque Dam return to its normal level. Mai Bermudez, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Ilocos Norte has been placed under a state of calamity after Typhoon Ompong pummeled the province. Aiko Miguel tells us why.
Typhoon Ompong left a trail of destruction after barreling through Ilocos Norte last weekend. The powerful storm devastated crops initially estimated at 1.9 billion pesos and infrastructures worth 1.38 billion pesos. Public schools also sustained damages worth 12.6 million pesos. The severe damages caused by Typhoon Ompong has prompted authorities to place Ilocos Norte under a state of calamity through Resolution Number 2018-09-265. Ilocos Norte Governor Amy Marcos also suspended classes in all levels officials on Monday, as some schools are still being used to shelter around 4,000 evacuees. Ompong entered the Philippine Area of Responsibility last Wednesday and made landfall in Bagao, Cagayan early Saturday morning. Ilocos Norte was placed under tropical cyclone warning signal number 4. Ilocos Sur meanwhile sustained damages in agriculture that reached over 875 million pesos. Local disaster officials are also verifying a reported casualty in Santa Lucia, Ilocos Sur.
Kwento nun isa, nagpunta daw yung tong 81 years old na matanda, nag-clearing operation mag-isa, and then nadaganan siya sa di naman kasama sa bagyo sana yon. So tinitignan natin kung ano talagang cause nun.
Local authorities have also compared Ompong's strength and devastating effects to Typhoon Lawin that pounded the province in 2016.
Yung bagyo Lawin, almost the same path. Mas malakas lang ito sa hangin, yung first blow namin. Mas matagal po na nag-stay. Pero ang maganda po, nakaprepare po yung mga DRR, mga municipal at saka cities.
Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Ilocos Norte.
The power restoration efforts in some areas devastated by Typhoon Ompong may take a month to complete, according to the National Electrification Administration. NEA reports that Ilocos Norte, Cagayan, and parts of Isabela are yet to have a full power transmission services because of damaged roads and electrical facilities.
Yung mga accessibility sa roads, yung mga hindi sila maka-access dahil barado pa yung dadaanan, and then yung clearing, kiniklear din na yun ng mga puno. Kung makikita nyo, mayroong sumabit na puno o other debris, kailangan matanggal yan. Kasi kung hindi at binuhay mo yan, ay magpuputukan lahat. Delikado.
The agency also reports that the power has already been restored in Pangasinan, Batanes, Isabela, Quirino, Nueva Ecija, Laguna, and Batangas. Meanwhile, authorities struggle to clear roads of debris after a typhoon with an international name MANGKHUT battered Hong Kong and China with ferocious winds. Transport services also remain suspended, stranding thousands of passengers. Stephanie Z tells us why.
The financial hub of Hong Kong began clearing up on Monday after being battered by one of the strongest typhoons in recent years, with financial markets and offices operating as normal. Typhoon MANGKHUT, with hurricane-force winds well over 200 kilometers per hour, had barreled past the northern tip of the Philippines, killing at least 15 people. It then skirted south of Hong Kong and the neighboring Macau before making landfall in China. The state broadcaster also said flood warnings had been issued for 38 rivers in the neighboring region of Guangxi, while 12 coastal monitoring stations reported their biggest ever waves. It also said more than 13,300 hectares of farmland had been damaged. The China Meteorological Administration said the typhoon, dubbed King of Storms, swept west to Guangxi province at 6 a.m. and weakened to a tropical storm. Across Hong Kong, authorities strive to clear roads of debris, including toppled trees and bamboo scaffolding. Some buildings, including the One Harbourfront office tower, had many windows smashed after a day in which some of the city's skyscrapers had swayed with the ferocious gusts.
All the trees are all on the ground, and then building, all grass is broken. Yeah, and then the wind is very loudly.
Some transport services remained suspended, though flights in the region were slowly resuming after a shutdown on Sunday, stranding many thousands of passengers, including some Filipinos.
Flight namin na para ngayon, yung nung Sunday pala is nilibook ng Wednesday, same time pa rin. Kaya andito kami ngayon sa Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, antayin namin Wednesday. Yun ang flight namin. Marami kami dito na stranded. Kaya yung laban-laban na lang. Kain-kain na lang ng noodles. Paano ng gutom.
Pauwi na kami. Nagkataong sinalanta naman ng bagyo. Kaya kami po ay na-stranded. Ngunit ang problema po kasi, airlines po, hindi po sila nagbigay ng assistance kung paano gagawin po. So, pahirapan kung paano namin makuha uli yung rebooking flight namin.
The Philippine Consulate General in Hong Kong urged the 220,000 Filipinos in Hong Kong, most of whom are household workers, to avoid going outdoors as clearing operations may take some time. Stephanie C., UNTV News and Rescue, Hong Kong.
Up next on Wine News. PNP Chief relieves Mid-Sayap and Gensan Police Chiefs after Sunday's blast. Philippine Embassy in Russia promotes wellness and good lifestyle among Filipino workers. AFP Cavaliers, Malacanang PSC Camao and NHA Builders scores big wins in the UNTV Cup. Thank you for keeping me company in the first part of Y News. More reasons behind the stories with Angelo Castro III and William Thio after this quick break. I'm Rheena Villamor-Camara. Good evening.
Welcome back to Y News. We pick up from where Rheena Villamor-Camara left off. I'm Angelo Castro III. Here are the headlines. Court finds former Major General Jovito Palparan guilty of kidnapping and serious illegal detention of 2 University of the Philippines students in 2006. Agriculture Department expects prices and supply of rice in the country to stabilize by November. And the military raises alert level 3 over Cotabato City after explosion rocks Mid-Sayap and General Santos City. The Malolos Regional Trial Court has found retired Major General Jovito Palparan guilty of kidnapping and serious illegal detention of 2 University of the Philippines students, Karen Empeño and Sherilyn Cadapan, in 2006. Bernard Dadis tells us why.
This was the reaction of retired Major General Jovito Palparan after a court in Malolos, Bulacan handed him a guilty verdict over the disappearance of 2 students of the University of the Philippines, Sherilyn Cadapan and Karen Empeño. The Malolos Regional Trial Court Branch 15 has found Palparan guilty of kidnapping and serious illegal detention of the said students in 2006. Judge Alexander Tamayot sentenced Palparan, known as the Butcher, to a life imprisonment for the crime that sent families into 12 years of torment.
At tama lang po, mabubulok ka sa kulungan. Hindi pa po tama yan. At ako magpasya, babalatan kita at asidan ng paunti-unti. Kagaya ng mga ginawa mo sa mga mamamayan.
Dapat lang managot si Palparan. At dapat lang ilitaw si Karen Empeño at saka si Sherilyn Cadapan.
Simula pa lang ito, simula pa lang yung laban. Ilabas nila ang katawan ng kapatid ko na buhay. Ilabas nila ang kapatid ko. Ilabas nila.
The court also ordered Palparan to pay a total of 600,000 pesos to both of the victims' families. It was on July 26, 2006 when alleged student activists Empeño and Cadapan were abducted while doing a research in the town of Hagunoy in Bulacan. According to the crucial witness, Farmer Raymond Manalo, the 2 were tortured and sexually molested inside a military cell at the 24th Infantry Battalion in Limay, Bataan sometime in November 2006. Manalo, along with his brother Reynaldo, testified that they were abducted on February 14, 2006 in San Ildefonso, Bulacan for being suspected as members of the communist group. He said that they kept along with the 2 students by their military captors in captivity even during camp transfers. He said he last saw the Empeño and Cadapan in July 2007. Also found guilty were 2 of Palparan's co-accused, Lieutenant Colonel Felipe Anotado and Staff Sergeant Edgardo Osorio. Malacanang meanwhile, through presidential spokesperson Harry Roque, welcomes the court ruling.
We respect the decision of the court and we would want justice to be done to the victims.
Palparan is likely to be cited in contempt for bad-mouthing Judge Tamayo inside the courtroom after the verdict was read. But the retired general remained firm.
Hindi siya matinong judge. Di ba? Hindi siya matinong judge. Sabi niya, iko-contempt daw niya kayo. Correct, go ahead. Kung ma-contempt nila ako, go ahead. Ano ba? Makukulong na ako ng for life. Ano pa yung contempt?
The court also ordered the transfer of Palparan to a regular prison cell from its temporary jail at the Philippine Army headquarters. Meanwhile, Judge Tamayo also issued a warrant of arrest against Palparan's co-accused, Master Sergeant Rizal Hilario, who remains at large today. Bernard Dadis, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Agriculture Secretary Manny Piñol denies that there is rice shortage in the country and even projects that prices of commercial rice will go down and stabilize in November. Diane Ventura tells us why.
From 25 pesos, the price of palay is projected to go down to 18 to 20 pesos per kilo. Agriculture Secretary Manny Piñol expects this to happen in November and hopes to have it stabilized until next year. This projection is prompted by the expected increase in the supply of palay as the start of harvest season begins. With this, the DA expects that the commercial rice will also go down in all public markets in the country.
You have to understand that the buying price of palay, rule of thumb, double that is the selling price of rice. So kung ang bilihan ng palay is 20, ang bigas niyan nasa 40, 38-40.
Piñol once again insists that there is no shortage in the supply of rice in the country. He accused the rice hoarders of manipulating the rice supply so that they can dictate the price increase. Piñol adds that the PNP and the Bureau of Customs personnel, in fact, were able to seize around 300 million peso worth of smuggled rice in a warehouse in Bulacan last September 12.
There is no rice shortage. There was and there is no rice shortage. In fact, right now, umaani na yung mga magsasaka natin. Bumabagsak na yung presyo ng palay.
The Secretary also hopes to have the rice tarification bill to be enacted to address the rice crisis in Zambasulta area. With this bill, private traders can legally import rice.
May gagawin na program na magiging legal na. No? In fact, the purpose is to stop smuggling. Pero dapat pagpasok ng bigas, it should be covered by, tariff, quarantine inspection, and sanitary and phytosanitary inspection.
Meanwhile, prices of rice in Nepa Q-Mart and in Commonwealth Market in Quezon City remains the same. NFA rice is still being sold from 27 to 32 pesos per kilo, while commercial rice is sold at 44 to 60 pesos per kilo depending on the variety.
Ganun pa rin sa dati. Hindi ko alam kung kailan magbababa ang presyo.
Ayon sa ilang tendera ng bigas,
stall owners say that they can sell up to 100 sacks of NFA rice and only about 3 to 5 sacks of commercial rice in one day. Diane Ventura, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
President Rodrigo Duterte is set to appoint outgoing Philippine Army Chief Lieutenant General Rolando Bautista as the new administrator of the National Food Authority. Bautista will replace Jason Aquino, who allegedly requested to be relieved from his post amid backlash over issues on rice supply and prices. Duterte says he wants Bautista to join his cabinet, though he admits the retiring general might not like the post because he is not into rice trading. Bautista is set to retire in October.
In the meantime na hindi kita malagay sa central bank, pwede ka muna sa NFA siguro to rationalize the idiotic ditong para maplano, make it structural. Si Bautista muna alam ko ayaw niya yung magbenta ng bigas kaya hindi mo siya tindero. Pero sabi ko na pag-usapan na natin balang araw yung in the meantime you have to help the country to rationalize everything.
The military has intensified security measures in Cotabato City following explosions in Midzayap and General Santos City in Mindanao on Sunday. Dante Amento tells us why.
The Armed Forces of the Philippines has raised a security alert level 3 over Cotabato City after a blast rattled Midsayap and General Santos City last night. This means that a curfew is in place barring residents from going out of their homes from 9 in the evening until 4 in the morning. The military has also intensified its checkpoint operations, asking passers-by to present identification cards and subject those none to interrogation. The heightened security measure is amid the ongoing martial law in Mindanao.
For now, nakikita natin ang necessity niyan, like in the fight against Tabusayap, the fight against BIFF, the Mauti Group, yung Maulana Group, or kung sino pa man ng mga teroristang grupo.
The military has blamed the Bangsamoro Islamic Freedom Fighters for the recent blast, believing that the group only wants to derail the government's efforts to attain long-lasting peace in the region.
But of course, yung initial investigation points to the signature na paggawa ng bomba at saka yung pag-employ sa mga BIFF who tried to ease yung pressure ng ongoing military operation natin na tuloy-tuloy dyan sa Central Mindanao.
The group, however, strongly denies they had a hand in the explosions.
Ay may mga politician na ayaw nila ng peace process. Saka yung mga sundalo naman ay hindi po sila kontento sa pool kasi hindi po sila umalis dito. Kaya ayaw nila ng peaceful dito sa Mindanao.
Gantiamento, UNTV, News and Rescue, Zamboanga City.
Philippine National Police Chief Oscar Albayalde orders the relief of the Chief of Police of Midsayap, North Cotabato, and General Santos City following the explosions that hit the said areas on Sunday. Albayalde also reminds police commanders in Mindanao to intensify their intelligence gathering to prevent such incidents.
Again, we reminded our regional directors dun sa Mindanao area to strengthen their target hardening measures. Of course, yung kanilang intelligence gathering, napaka-importante nito, no, para matigil itong mga bombings na ito.
8 individuals were hurt when a bomb exploded in General Santos City before noon Sunday, while no casualties were reported in an explosion at a certain Videoke house in Midsayap, North Cotabato. The PNP also believes that the militant group BIFF orchestrated the blasts. Filipinos working in Russia are getting more push in having good and active lifestyle from the Philippine Embassy. Jovic Bermas tells us why.
The Philippine Embassy in Russia is beefing up its efforts to promote health awareness and good lifestyle among Filipinos working in the country. A seminar highlighting the importance of healthcare was recently held by the Philippine Embassy, which according to Philippine Consul in Russia Jeffrey Valdez, aims to push around 8,000 Filipinos here to practice a hearty routine. This is also seen to help OFWs maintain good health amid stress relating to their duties as household staff and longing for the families they left behind. Jonaline Halandoni has been working in Russia as a nanny for 4 years now, and she undergoes a weekly training to de-stress.
So, every week meron kaming trainings para at least maging malusog naman kami. At the same time, syempre, yung pressure sa work, kailangan meron tayong exercise, tamang diet, and yun.
Other Filipino workers here are also trying to maintain a good lifestyle, for they rely on their skills and health in making a living for their dependents back home.
Kailangan po nating mapanatili ang ating kalusugan bilang isang OFW upang maging maayos ang ating trabaho, makapagpadala sa Pilipinas at mabigyan ng magandang kinabukasan ng ating mga anak.
Maganda na rin po umiwas sa bisyo tulad ng mga alak, ng sigarilyo na nakakasama sa kalusugan natin. Wala naman po maidudulot na mabuti yan, magastos pa.
Filipinos have an average life expectancy of 69.2 years, according to the 2018 Human Development Index ranking of the United Nations Development Program or UNDP report. The Philippines also ranks 113th out of 189 countries in the Human Development Index or HDI, which is a composite index measuring average achievements in 3 basic dimensions of human development: a long and healthy life, access to knowledge, and a decent standard of living. Apart from pushing Filipinos to practice hearty routine, the Philippine Embassy in Moscow also assures emergency health assistance for OFWs.
Kaya ang ginagawa ng embassy, yung mga may urgent medical need na mga kababayan natin, hinihikayat namin na tumawag sa amin at wala pa naman humihingi ng tulong na hindi natulungan ng embassy sa pamamagitan ng mga pondo na nanggagaling sa Department of Foreign Affairs.
Jovic Bermas, UNTV News and Rescue.
Despite having difficulties, first-time composer wins the Song of Praise or ASOP Year 7's second weekly elimination in September. Leslie Longboen tells us why.
John Paul Salazar's upbeat composition Tugtog won last night's second weekly elimination in September in a Song of Praise or ASOP Year 7. He says Tugtog is a creation of a happy heart who wants to praise the Lord.
Merong musika na dumadali sa puso natin na nagbibigay sigla, saya, kagalakan para awitan natin yung Panginoon at pasalamatan at purihan siya.
Despite having difficulties due to his glaucoma, John Paul is determined to write songs that will glorify God.
Kasi nga malabo na yung paningin ko at di na rin ako nakakalabas. Kaya doon ko na lang itinutuon yung oras ko sa paggawa ng kanta. Although sa umpisa mahirap kasi hindi mo naman nakikiting sinusulat mo. Kaya talagang napipilita ka na i-memorize word by word.
This is John Paul's first time to join the competition, but his song did not fail to all the ASOP judges.
Konsepto. Sasabihin ko, ano to, ang kanta na to, exploratory. Adventurous talaga.
Kakaaliw ang melody. Sa letra naman, tingin ko na ipahatid mo naman na maganda yung mensahe mo na isang awitin na tungkol sa Panginoon.
I love that this song has a contemporary feel. Very today, yung sound, di ba? Parang it sounds like a really new band na naririnig ko, no?
John Paul will compete next for the monthly finals to be the 11th grand finalist in ASOP Year 7. Leslie Longboen, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Two-time champion Armed Forces of the Philippines, Malacanang PSC Camao and the National Housing Authority scored big wins in the 7th edition of the UNTV Cup elimination rounds. Here's why from Bernard Dadis.
Season 6 fourth placer NHA Builders proved they are among the teams to beat after routing two-time champion Judiciary Magis 73-68 in the tournament, offering 4 million pesos to the charity of the champion team. The NHA needed a decisive run midway through the payoff period to surprise the Judiciary in their match at the Pasig City Sports Center on Sunday. The heroics of Marvin Mercado and Alvin Bitug led the Builders to beat the Magis by bracketing 22 and 18 points respectively.
Nung third quarter, nakita nila na hindi sila pwede magkanya-kanya. So they work as a team, they work as a family.
Darating namin sayo, mag-hard practice pa rin kami. Saka siguro, in defense rin, medyo nawala rin bandang huli.
The AFB Cavaliers meanwhile drew 26 points from former Letran star Boyet Bautista and waylaid DOJ Justice Boosters 109-87. The AFB's win put the Cavaliers on level with opening day winner and defending champion Senate Defenders.
Well, hopefully magtuloy-tuloy ngayon, di ba? Nadagdagan kami ng 2 players, isang malaki, saka medyo isang maliit. Basically, medyo bumata na kami ng konti ngayon. Siguro makakasabay kami na maayos ngayon.
Basta. Here's good line.
Malacanang PSC Camao meanwhile dumped the Ombudsman Grubbusters 101-72, despite the 25 points bucketed by the latter's reinforcement player, Luis Palaganas Jr. Eric De La Cuesta was the best player of the game.
Sinabi ko naman sa player ko, napaka-importante ng bawat game ngayon sa atin. Sana magtuloy-tuloy. Siyempre, nagre-ready rin kami. One game at a time lang kami.
Kailangan lang namin talagang i-solid pa yung depensa namin. Saka yung mga local namin, kailangan mag-step up. Saka si Berson Franco right now, hindi siya 100%. Kaya walang katulong si Palaganas.
Bernard Dadis, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Up next on Y News. Historic flooding feared as Storm Florence lingers over Carolinas. Washed up whale in Madrid River in Spain baffles many residents. And an artist turns vintage data storage into portraits. And those are the reasons behind the stories in the second part of our newscast. Y News returns with William Thio. I'm Angelo, Castro III. Good evening.
To complete the most significant news for this day, Y News continues. Here are the top stories. Local authorities have temporarily halted the search and rescue operations in Itogon, Benguet, where a landslide hit during Typhoon Ompong's onslaught. Local executives say they have to suspend the search for the night so as not to endanger the lives of the rescuers. Rescue teams manually dig the ground and use machines to pump out water as they search for the victims.
Ting pa ngayon. Bunkhouse po yan at saka isang structure na ginawang church. Dalawa po yan yung nakikita nyo po ngayon. Hindi po yan yung exact place niya. Sa taas pa po yun.
3 bodies were recovered today, but authorities hope they will still find survivors under the loose ground that buried homes in Barangay Ukab. Data from the Cordillera Region Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council show that as of today, 54 people were confirmed dead and 49 are still missing.
Medyo may challenge kasi basically makikita naman natin ngayon mano-mano lahat ng operations natin.
Meanwhile, Environment Secretary Roy Cimatu has announced that the government is ordering a stoppage of all small-scale mining operations in the entire Cordillera Administrative Region or CAR. This after a massive landslide killed a number of miners and their families in Barangay Ukab in the municipality of Itogon during the onslaught of Typhoon Ompong. The stoppage order includes members of the small-scale mining industry with permits from the local government. The military and police were tasked to implement the order.
We ask our small-scale miners to cooperate and stop all small-scale mining activities here. The DNR will be sending men from the Armed Forces of the Philippines and the Philippine National Police to effect the stoppage of all mining activities, especially here in Togon.
Following the order, the government assured that affected workers and miners will be provided with the necessary assistance since most miners are from the Ifugao province. The government is encouraging them to return to their respective hometowns or to relocate.
Ang immediate po dyan, meron tayong cash for work, galing po sa DOLE, galing sa DSWD. Pagkatapos po dyan, i-activate po ang TESDA for alternative livelihood Tapos po dyan, yung recommendation na bumalik nga sa Ifugao.
Authorities are struggling to clear roads of debris after Typhoon MANGKHUT battered Hong Kong and China. MANGKHUT's hurricane-force winds have toppled trees and scaffoldings, shattered windows of offices, and swayed skyscrapers across Hong Kong and China. The typhoon also spawned the biggest ever waves that lashed the coast, caused flooding in low-lying areas, and damaged thousands of hectares of farmlands. Thousands of passengers, including Filipinos, were also stranded following slow resumption of flights after transport services were shut down on Sunday.
Flight namin na para ngayon, yung nung Sunday pala is nilibook ng Wednesday. Same time pa rin. Kaya andito kami ngayon sa Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, antayin namin Wednesday. Yun ang flight namin. Marami kami dito na stranded. Kaya yung laban-laban na lang. Kain-kain na lang ng noodles. Paano ng gusto.
Pauwi na kami. Nagkataon, sinalanta naman ng bagyo. Kaya kami po ay na-stranded. Ngunit ang problema po kasi, airlines po, hindi po sila nagbigay ng assistance kung paano gagawin po. So, pahirapan kung paano namin makuha uli yung rebooking flight namin.
In other news, the Malolos Regional Trial Court Branch 15 has found retired Major General Jovito Palparan guilty of kidnapping and serious illegal detention of 2 University of the Philippines students, Karen Empeño and Sherlyn Cadapan, in 2006. Judge Alexander Tamayo sentenced Palparan to a life imprisonment and ordered him to pay a total of 600,000 pesos to both of the victims' families. The court also ordered the transfer of Palparan to a regular prison cell from its temporary jail at the Philippine Army headquarters.
At tama lang po, mabubulok ka sa kulungan. Hindi pa po tama yan. Kat ako magpasya, babalatan kita at asidan ng paunti-unti. Kagaya ng mga ginawa mo sa mga mamamayan.
Dapat lang managot si Palparan. At dapat lang ilitaw si Karen Empeño at saka si Sherlyn Cadapan.
Palparan is also likely to be cited in contempt for bad-mouthing Judge Tamayo inside the courtroom after the verdict was read.
Anong
Also found guilty were 2 of Palparan's co-accused, Lieutenant Colonel Felipe Anotado and Staff Sergeant Edgardo Osorio. A warrant of arrest was also issued against Palparan's co-accused, Master Sergeant Rizal Hilario, who remains at large. The price of palay is expected to go down to 18 to 22 pesos from the current 25 pesos per kilogram. Agriculture Secretary Manny Piñol says this is projected to happen as the harvest season begins by November and is expected to last until next year. With this, the Department of Agriculture anticipates that the commercial rice will also go down in all public markets in the country.
You have to understand that the buying price of palay, rule of thumb, double that is the selling price of rice. So kung ang bilihan ng palay is 20, ang bigas niyan nasa 40, 38-40.
Piñol also reiterates there is no rice shortage in the country, blaming rice hoarders for manipulating the rice supply to jack up its price.
There is no rice shortage. There was and there is no rice shortage. In fact, right now, umaani na yung mga magsasaka natin. Bumabagsak na yung presyo ng palay.
The Armed Forces of the Philippines has implemented a curfew in Cotabato City after raising security alert to level 3 following blasts at Rock, Midsayap, and General Santos City on Sunday. Under this measure, residents are prohibited from going outside their homes from 9 p.m. to 4 a.m. and motorists need to present identification cards when passing checkpoints. The heightened security measure is amid the ongoing martial law in Mindanao.
For now, nakikita natin ang necessity niyan, like in the fight against Tabusayap, the fight against BIFF, the Mauti Group, yung Maulana Group, or kung sino pa man ng mga teroristang grupo.
8 individuals were hurt when a bomb exploded in General Santos City before noon Sunday, while no casualty was reported in an explosion at a certain videoke house in Midsayap, North Cotabato. The military and police are blaming the Bangsamoro Islamic Freedom Fighters or BIFF for the recent blast, but the group denied any involvement.
Ay may mga politician na ayaw nila ng peace process. Saka yung mga sundalo naman ay hindi po sila kontento sa bull kasi hindi po sila umalis dito. Kaya ayaw nila ng peaceful dito sa Mindanao.
Meanwhile, the members of the House of Representatives had a spirited debate today that resulted in the cancellation of the supposed deliberation of the 3.757 trillion 2019 proposed national budget. Grace Casin will tell us why.
The scheduled deliberation of the 3.757 trillion 2017 proposed national budget was cancelled today due to some issues being debated upon in the House of Representatives early this morning. According to the sources of UNTV, there are projects worth 50 billion pesos distributed to 50 congressmen in the 2019 proposed national budget. The House leadership wanted this slashed. House Majority Leader Rolando Andaya Jr. clarifies that they do not want to slash the president's budget. He, however, confirms that it is now being studied by the House leadership, as congressmen are complaining that they are not aware of these fund allocations to their districts.
We're in the process of looking for these so-called 50 billion na yan. Trillion na yung budget natin, so medyo matagal-tagal na himayan yan.
Early this morning, an executive session was held to discuss this issue. And according to House Committee on Appropriations Vice Chairperson El Rey Villafuerte, they had a heated exchange with Congressman Andaya during the meeting.
I was I was making a point on the mic and sabi niya, wag raw ako magsalita. Sabi ko, I'm a vice chair, if I right. At wala, he was just bullying me, bullying Carlo Nograles, saying all these things. Then marami pa siyang mga sinamang below the belt.
Wala kaming tinatakot, binubuli. Lalong-lalo na the speaker was present the whole time sa proceedings. So it was done in the spirit of debate.
Another source of UNTV said the rather feisty discussions during the executive session led some lawmakers to consider removing Congressman Carlo Nograles as chairperson of the Appropriations Committee.
Kung gusto ako tanggalin nila ako. It's up to the body.
As it is, he is scheduled to defend the budget.
The House leadership plans to continue the budget deliberations tomorrow to make sure that they will able to pass the budget on October 13. Grace Casin, UNTV, News and Rescue, House of Representatives.
And for the news abroad, here's Pauline Ompiko live from Tokyo, Japan. Pauline, good evening.
Good evening, William. South Korea's President Moon Jae-in is scheduled to meet North Korean leader Kim Jong-un on Tuesday on the first day of the Inter-Korean Summit in Pyongyang. According to South Korea's Chief Presidential Secretary Im Jong-suk, the summit agenda includes promoting the U.S.-North Korea talks for denuclearization. Moon will cross the border into the north for his third meeting with Kim on Tuesday, amid skepticism over whether the North Korean leader was serious about denuclearization, a goal vowed at his summit with U.S. President Donald Trump last June. At least 15 people were killed and thousands were left without power after Hurricane Florence battered much of the Carolinas in the United States. And though it has weakened into a tropical depression, authorities still warn of continued flash flooding and river floods. Kath Carriedo tells us why.
The risk to life is rising from Storm Florence. North Carolina's Governor Roy Cooper has warned. In a briefing for the media, he said people should stay off the roads as the threat from floods continues to spread.
As this storm continues to churn through North Carolina, it has dumped nearly 2 feet or more of rain in many places. The strongest storm bands are dumping 2 to 3 inches of rain per hour. That's enough to cause flooding in areas that have never flooded before until now. The risk is growing as well in the mountains, where rains could lead to dangerous landslides like earlier this year.
At least 15 people have died in storm-related incidents, 10 in North Carolina and 5 in South Carolina. Florence, which started out as a hurricane, has now weakened to a depression, the National Hurricane Center said on Sunday. But flash flooding and river floods will continue over a significant portion of the Carolinas. Meanwhile, fresh evacuations were ordered further inland as rivers crested and spilled out of their banks. Long lines of cars could be seen outside of gas stations in Wilmington. Men reported waiting in their vehicles for hours only to be turned away.
The tankers that are sitting in the parking lot are empty, and they are turning everybody around that's been waiting in line for hours.
In Fayetteville, a North Carolina city of about 210,000 people, some 90 miles from the ocean, authorities told thousands of residents near the Cape Fear River and Little River to get out of their homes by Sunday afternoon because of the flood risk. About 668,000 homes and businesses were without power in North and South Carolina and surrounding states, down from a peak of nearly 1 million. South Carolina has been paying close attention to the rising water in North Carolina as they make their own preparations for expected flooding.
Those rivers in North Carolina that have received heavy rainfall are coming our way, as are our own rivers, which are gathering water now from the ground in streams and tributaries and creeks, and they have not crested, they have not even begun yet, but they will.
More than 900 people have been rescued from flooded areas in the state. U.S. President Donald Trump has declared a disaster in 8 counties in North Carolina. The state is asking for more counties to be added to the list. Kat Carriedo, UNTV News and Rescue, USA.
Emergency services responded to a scene in a restaurant in Salisbury, United Kingdom, where 2 people fell ill while eating. Meanwhile, residents of 3 communities in Massachusetts, USA, were allowed to return home since a series of gas explosions killed 1 man and set dozens of buildings on fire. Jovic Bermas tells us why.
In the United Kingdom, police officers wearing masks and white suits were seen outside a restaurant in Salisbury on Sunday after the area was cordoned off when 2 people fell ill while eating. Police were called to the Prezzo restaurant in the English city where former Russian agent Sergei Skripal and his daughter Yulia were poisoned in March in the evening in response to a medical incident involving a man and a woman. In a statement, Wiltshire police said there was nothing to suggest the incident at the restaurant involved the nerve agent Novichok, and that it was not clear whether a crime had been committed. Inquiries were continuing, police said. The Skripals were found slumped in Salisbury city center after visiting the Bishop's Mill Pub and Zizi, another Italian restaurant. Police have said a nerve toxin had been left on the front door of the Skripals' home. In Israel, hundreds of people attended the funeral of an American-born Jewish settler on Sunday who was fatally stabbed by a Palestinian in the occupied West Bank. Mourners cried and sang as a large crowd gathered at a cemetery in the Kfar Etzion settlement in the West Bank late on Sunday. The victim, 45-year-old Ari Feld, was well known amongst settlers as a pro-Israel advocate. The suspected assailant, identified in Israeli media as a 17-year-old from a West Bank village, was taken into custody. And in USA, residents of 3 Massachusetts communities were allowed to return to their homes on Sunday for the first time since a series of gas explosions killed 1 man and set dozens of buildings on fire. Natural gas leaks believed to have been caused by overpressurized lines on Thursday triggered a series of explosions and fires in and over North Andover and Lawrence, communities northwest of Boston. Local officials ordered residents of some 8,000 homes and businesses to evacuate and shut off electricity to prevent further fires. It was the largest natural gas pipeline accident in terms of the number of buildings involved in the United States since 2010, when an interstate line operated by Pacific Gas and Electric Company ruptured in San Bruno, California, destroying 38 buildings, damaging 70 more, and killing 8 people. Jovic Burmas, UNTV News and Rescue.
Those are the news from the other parts of the globe. Back to you, William.
Thank you very much, Pauline Ompong, live from Tokyo, Japan. A painter from London uses his skills to give a second life to obsolete storage devices such as floppy disks and CDs. Meanwhile, residents in Madrid, Spain are left baffled by a whale that washed up in a river. Leslie Langboan tells us why.
British artist Nick Gentry is giving a second life to unfashionable and obsolete storage devices such as video cassettes, floppy disks, and CDs by turning them into art. The 38-year-old Londoner paints large portraits over the items shaped into the frame of his subject. He also grinds down CDs, mixing the broken fragments with a resin glue to create sculptures of people.
I like to use obsolete media in my work. CDs are a big one for me. I've used in the past film negatives, X-rays, floppy disks. All of these stuff, they're like artifacts of our culture. And that, to me, feels like something worth keeping, worth celebrating.
His works are being presented at London's Opera Gallery in a joint exhibition titled Human Connection until September 28. Madrid woke on Friday to the sight of a 52-feet sperm whale washed up on the banks of the Spanish capital's Manzanares River, only to find that the subject of the disturbing news was a sculpture. Passers-by stare in awe of long behemoth before taking to their phones and snapping a photo of the unusual sight. The installation is the work of the Captain Boomer Collective, a group of artists, which together with Madrid City Hall aim to raise awareness on sea pollution. The hyper-real sperm whale has toured several European capitals, accompanied by members of the collective who pose as environmentalists like Bart Van Peel and forensics who pretend to be studying the beached whale. Leslie Langboan, UNTV News and Rescue.
And those are the reasons behind the news September 17, 2018. On behalf of Rheena, Villamor-Camara, and Angelo Castro III, I am William Thio. Because we need to know, we will always ask why. Good evening.